your screen again today, speaking from Xavier, Law Essence. Today we'll be talking about 3 conditions when the provisions of the Nigerian Data Protection Act will be applicable. In our last video, we actually made mention of the fact that there are 8 objectives that the Act is set out to achieve. But that the sole essence of this Act is to ensure that your personal information remains private and is well protected from those who do not have authorized access to such personal information. But today, let us go a step further to actually look at the 3 conditions when we can say that the provisions of this Act will be applicable. Number 1 is when the person who is collecting your personal information is living here, is operating his business here in Nigeria. Number 2, if the person is actually processing that your information right here in Nigeria. The 3rd condition is where the person who is processing your personal information, though you are here in Nigeria, but the person is far away in another country. The person is not living here in Nigeria. The person is not carrying on his business here in Nigeria. But you, that is the owner of that information, you're right here in Nigeria. It means that the provisions of this Act will be applicable. So it's immaterial whether the person is here or not. So long as you, that is the owner of that information, you are right here in Nigeria, it means that the provisions of this Act will be applicable. When we are talking about compliance, when we are talking about obedience with the law, it means that such controller of that personal data, of that your information, must comply with the provisions of this Act. So if you go through the provisions of this Act, like where the Act says there are basic grounds or there are principles that should govern lawful processing of personal information, it means that even if that data processor is abroad, he must comply with that provision. That is where true compliance comes in. And it is impossible to actually achieve these set objectives if the provisions in this Act are not complied with. So I hope you have learned something today. This is where we give you premium legal tips to help you live informed lives, make informed decisions, and discover the very best version of yourself. We'll see you again.